Tailwind or Trick Room, basically.
Truly.
Yes, Terry.
Yeah, exactly that. But like we said, there's sort of like different sort of branches that you could go down in terms of the flow chart between both our trainers. And there you go. There is Matthew getting all primed and ready. On the left-hand side, we will have Charlie on the right. And at this point, calm, cool, collected. Both of our young trainers. And it sort of tells and shows as to the experience they've been able to generate and pick up through all of the astounding accomplishments they've been able to build up to and gain. Leading up to this moment, where one of them will be crowned the next Latin America International Champion.
Yeah, we have Oceania versus the NA region here, so there is going to be a very significant win on the line for both these trainers. They've obviously both already locked up their Worlds invites, having already gotten to the top 4 here, but of course that win is so much sweeter, isn't it? Yeah. You've got so much more prizes and championship points on the line here too, and I'm going to be really hyped to see who is going to be able to take this out, who is going to be able to win the mirror, because then you've got mastery of this whole team as well.
Yeah, exactly that. Who will be the best Kilowattrel P2 Ursaluna Hisui trainer? We're going to find out shortly, as we do have the 6 on the board right now. Notably, on Matthew's side, we do have the Incineroar having a Terra Water typing, the Golden Go being a Dragon Terra Life Orb, and the Amoonguss being the Water type variants. So these are already the first set of differences between both of our trainers, at least from the optics of Matthew's side.
Yeah, exactly. So we've definitely got a few differences there. And obviously, if you've got that Terra Water on your Incineroar, for instance, you're suddenly wanting to do that a lot more versus, say, something like the Golden Go there, which you can take on Make It Rain, but still be able to take on other moves that could hit your Incineroar for super effective, like the Ursaluna on the other side, for instance. Yeah, you can see this composition has been very popular in other previous tournaments as well, and it's been really able to pop off because you've got that sudden threat of like Incineroar plus Porygon 2 to set up Trick Room. You've got Incineroar plus Kilowattrel to set up Tailwind. Yeah. You can just swap in Ursaluna turn 1, get the Flame Orb activated as soon as someone plays defensive versus your Fake Out, for instance. And then you've just got a Golden Go, which is just an incredible Pokemon, and just really launch those super-powered Make It Rains.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why it's sort of one of the very best and most used Pokemon when it comes to the current regulation set H format, especially because the lower base power threshold in comparison to, you know, sort of like the restricted formats in of themselves. But then over on Charlie's side, we've got the same 6 as we mentioned between both of our trainers, and the differences, as we will be able to feature on the graphic very shortly, will be on those 3 Pokemon yet again.
Yeah, they must be really feeling the pressure at the moment now. So on your right is Charlie's team that you can see here too. Obviously, we know it's the same 6 Pokemon there as well. There's plenty of options there that can be led and that can be put in the back too. I really wonder what sort of prep was kind of behind the scenes, right, leading up to today. You know, the kind of support and the community around these trainers too.
Yeah, and as we can see from Charlie's side, we've got the Ghost Terra option on the Incineroar. The Golden Go has Terra Water instead of Dragon, and has the Adwa Berry, not the Life Orb variant. This is the variant that we saw actually go ahead and pick up the Brisbane Regional Championship as well by Unatada, if I'm not mistaken, several weeks ago. And finally, the Amoonguss is Fire Terra rather than Water versus Matthews.
Yes, exactly. So, yeah, really big differences, honestly, and they could be so pivotal into this matchup too, particularly having the Terra Water on your Amoonguss there, because there's no grass type like that Rillaboom to kind of really punish a Water Terra, right? There is obviously that Kilowattrel, but it's nowhere near as powerful as a Rillaboom boosted by that grassy terrain. So that could be a really nice option here, particularly when looking at all of the Pokemon that don't want to take a Spore, particularly because Charlie's Incineroar, for instance, is Assault Vest, rather than it's that safety goggles that a lot of them run as well.
Right.
So you've got a really safe target there, especially for one that can't even protect.
Yeah, and like we said, there are fine margins that will be able to make the difference, especially when you're not able to capitalize off of defensive switches that may be forced due to the lack of those protects. But we're getting into the action, folks. Get ready and make some noise. Matthew Henry versus Charlie Kim. One of these trainers will be crowned the champion at the end of this set. Kilowattrel, Golden Go versus Golden Go, and Porygon 2.
Okay, so yeah, Golden Go is a good Pokemon, so let's bring it. But the supporting Pokemon is really key here. So Charlie may be going for more of a Trick Room strategy, possibly Ursaluna in the back, but obviously Matthew is then going with that Kilowattrel, but also probably Ursaluna in the back, as we can see too.
Exactly.
Often Ursaluna on these teams are trained to be in that kind of middling sort of speed tier, where it can benefit both from Trick Room, but also outspeed a lot of Pokemon once it's got that Tailwind up as well. So Matthew at this point probably doesn't want to go for that Tailwind though, because Charlie can easily punish with that Trick Room here. And what we don't know either though is the speed interactions between the two Golden Go, which could be so huge given that both have that Shadow Ball move.
Yeah, especially because Matthew's Golden Go has actually got that Life Orb, which means it's going to be able to offer so much more damage output in comparison to Charlie's, and maybe force Charlie's Golden Go out, which seems to be the case, or at least utilize and burn up the terrestrialization option. But Charlie opting for that Blood Moon Ursaluna being brought in right now in anticipation of a Shadow Ball, which is so crucial and nullifies any sort of movement from that Golden Go as Trick Room has now been set up.
Yeah, an amazing switch in there. That's exactly what you want from your Ursaluna there. You get that switch in, Flame Board immediately activates, and you've avoided the Intimidate from the Incineroar because the Incineroar came in first too. Now, obviously you're faced with a potential fake out from this point too, but the Ursaluna is Terra Ghost, so it could just go for that move and then attack regardless. And you're facing two Pokemon that are weak to ground at the same time. So just Terra Ghost Earthquake looks really safe right now, and Matthew really has to respect it.
Yeah, and that's why we're going to be seeing the switch in order to be able to preserve that Incineroar for a later Intimidate, but most crucially, allow the Kilowattrel to be able to avoid a ground type move is what I would say, but the Facade focus into the Kilowattrel, maybe anticipating the defensive protect from the Golden Go, which we don't see, and it's just going to be a raw double up. Kilowattrel is already down. Matthew remaining with their 3 pieces, but the Golden Go absolutely brave and bold, going for so much damage onto the Ursaluna, which is so crucial at this stage. Whilst now, even though Matthew's down a Pokemon, you've got that free switch into the Incineroar.
Yeah, you can bring that in indeed, but it looks like the Ursaluna is actually coming in here as well, which I like there, because if you're throwing in Incineroar, you're still playing that mind game as to whether Ursaluna just goes for the Terra Ghost instead and then just attacks anyway. Whereas if you bring in your own Ursaluna, you're kind of maybe saying, right, I might be the slower Ursaluna here actually when Trick Room's up, or at least it's a speed tie and I might try and go for it anyway. But it remains to be seen whether it actually can get off that move, right? It's going to be really dicey. Maybe these players know that speed interaction. We do not at this point. So it could be a very explosive turns once this turn comes out, because there's plenty of turns of Trick Rooms to go. And Matthew's Golden Go is looking very exposed versus this opposing Ursaluna.
Oh, as the Porygon 2 switches out, maybe even revealing the final Pokemon being that Incineroar. You can see the dismay in Matthew's face. The Intimidate does ensure that the Ursaluna from Matthew's side will most likely not even be able to pick up a KO, even if the focus of the Headlong Rush does come out first, ahead of the Ursaluna over on Charlie's side. And basically, a tick for tack for both of our trainers, both Incineroars being brought onto the field in order to be able to mitigate the damage output of the Ursas.
So here's a Terra coming out from the start of this turn, and it is going to be that Ursaluna going for that Terra Ghost to potentially get around any sort of fake out sort of option, but of course also facades that can come out from either of the Ursalunas too. There's no mind's eye on these ones here, but still very good. But it's Headlong Rush instead!
Headlong Rush instead! Not even enough to be able to guarantee a 2-shot at the current point without a burn status. Being applied Facade though, will be so close to picking up the KO. Does the burn do it? No, it doesn't! It survives on a slither of health, and what a way to be able to at least allow yourself a bit more breathing room. But David, let's talk about those speed interactions so far.
Okay, we will, yeah. So, yeah, we've seen a lot of interactions here at the moment. So, I believe it was Charlie's Ursaluna that was able to go for that Headlong Rush first within the Trick Room here. And then Matthew's Ursaluna was able to release that Facade that was then able to be survived on the other end. Now, that's not to say that we know that Charlie's Ursaluna is faster for sure. It could still be that speed tie, because this is going to be a perfect speed tier that you want on this team, quite possibly. Yeah. But let's find out. We might find out if things swip around further in this game.
Yeah, and Porygon 2 does have the download ability proc, giving a +1 in its special attack, whilst Charlie finally committing the terrestrialization, wants to forego any sort of fake out priority, KOs onto itself. Which bear will move first? We will find out very shortly after this interim fake out that is met with nothing. Headlong Rush picks up the KO into the Incineroar. Charlie has been able to at least guarantee the second KO, which is so crucial in what is a battle of attrition and resources between these two interactions. Headlong Rush, not enough at -1 of its attack to pick off the KO on the Porygon 2, which we know is so bulky with that Eviolite attached to it.
And there's the Flame Orb taking this Ursaluna down on this final turn. But what an amazing Terra Ghost to go for there for Charlie. Great play there, and one that maybe Matthew wasn't expecting there, given the fake out as well. Like, surely, yeah, your Ursaluna's on such low health, it's going to go down anyway. You don't want to spend your Terror on that option, right?
Right.
But we saw how valuable that was. Getting rid of Incineroar, an incredibly supportive piece, was so key instead. But so, Incineroar coming in on the other end as well for Charlie, and that Golden Go as well. Another key piece of information as well, Charlie's Ursaluna still outsped Matthew's Ursaluna for the second time this time.
Yep.
So is most likely now the faster of the two within those Trick Room scenarios.
Yeah, exactly. And as we can see, Trick Room being such a key component to this matchup, but Charlie does have the advantage in terms of remaining available Pokemon. And at this point, having the damage mitigated of the Ursaluna being so low is so crucial, because most likely the Incineroar can actually survive and maybe be able to pick off or damage incredibly that Golden Go, as we actually see the switch up from Charlie. Porygon 2 being switched out in order to be able to bring that Golden Go out, maybe anticipating the end of the Trick Room turns, but the Incineroar moving first, showing that indeed this may be a bit of a speedy bear to capitalize off of the Tailwind mode, which is so detrimental to this matchup for Matthew.
And there's the Make It Rain from Matthew's end, but that's not the move you want to use right now, especially versus those two targets. That's not doing any damage right now, and it's on its last little stacks of coin legs, and Matthew absolutely knows it. The game one is going to Charlie Kim.
Yeah, what a way to go about it. We saw some very crucial interactions there. The speeds, most notably. And to be completely honest with you, David, it felt like the Kilowattrel essentially put Matthew a bit back in terms of a handicap, I would say, to an extent, because of the fact that it essentially just went down, not only very quickly, but it wasn't able to pay off any sort of oppressive pressure, which you require, especially when going up against a Porygon 2. So it felt like there was just so much more room for Charlie to be able to navigate in this game one.
Yeah, there really was. And like, if you're leading Kilowattrel, you are expecting, or at least you're wanting very much, an Incineroar lead, aren't you? Because that Intimidate comes out, it activates your competitive boost, you've got double special attack, and Kilowattrel is suddenly this really powerful offensive threat. But we saw even when Matthew was pivoting it out, that Charlie made a really aggressive, but really good play of facading and just a normal Terror Blast into that slot as it came in.
Yep.
So even with the Focus Sash, it just went down so quickly. But yeah, I think you're right, Costa. I don't think it still did a lot there either way. And so we might need to look at Matthew kind of switching up strategies. But what we have seen is that the Ursaluna, from Charlie's point of view, is still most likely faster in that Trick Room. And so very much wants it to get up, because otherwise Matthew's Ursaluna is going to have such a field day.
Do you think there is a case where, because of the mind games of that game one, we actually see Charlie lead with the Incineroar, anticipating the Kilowattrel not coming onto the field in order to be able to capitalize early on?
Well, maybe. And even if you do proc the competitive there, you can still fake out that Kilowattrel if it doesn't go for that Terror. But either way, we are certainly game two, and there it is.
Okay.
Matthew is sticking with that Kilowattrel, but switching up to the Ursaluna instead. And it's that Porygon 2 and Golden Go for Charlie.
Yeah, and it does seem like the Porygon 2 has been able to get that proc in the download ability, giving it +1 in its special attack, making it so much more of an oppressive threat.
Yeah, really good catch there, especially versus that Ursaluna that's got a really big defense, much more likely to get that special attack boost instead. So Matthews, though, is saying, right, that's definitely going to be worth it, because now with an Ursaluna lead, yes, Flame Orb's not activated, but it's threatening a lot of damage, especially into that Golden Go. Yeah,
which does switch out in favor of the Ursaluna. Clearly, Charlie opting to go for the Trick Room mode, as it has so much advantage, whilst also being able to bring the Ursaluna in parallel to proc the Flame Orb, give it the guts boosted damage that it needs. But the terrestrialization already prematurely coming out from Matthew's side, wanting to make sure you go full offensive and do not fall susceptible to a Terra fighting commit from the Porygon 2, especially because of the download boost, whilst Kilowattrel actually going for the protect. This may well just be a Trick Room being set up from Charlie at the cost of not as much damage being dealt on either side of the field, and Charlie's been able to do just that. And I would even have argued, could there have been a scenario where Matthew, in order to respect the Porygon 2, going for the air slash and maybe even trying to buy for a flinch?
Yeah, I think that was definitely a missed opportunity there for Matthew to kind of really capitalize on what Charlie wants to do and what Charlie wanted to do in game one, right, which was set Trick Room. And Charlie's yet again been able to get in Ursaluna for the maximum amount of turns in Trick Room with the Flame Orb activated and with very minimal damage taken as well. So yeah, a really great position. Unfortunately, Matthew missing opportunities to capitalize there. So yeah, it's Matthew on the defensive yet again here, but we're still in Ursaluna, there's still a way here, and it's not intimidated yet either.
Yeah, unlike Charlie's Ursaluna, which is due to the Incineroar now making its way through onto the field. It's going to have Fake Out available in the subsequent turn as Facade. Not quite enough to pick up the KO at -1, but guess what is the Terra Blast connect of the double into the Incineroar. Already such a pivotal Pokemon, now out yet again for Matthew. Game 2 is not looking that tight right now. However, the headlong rush commit into the Ursaluna does give Matthew a bit more of a leeway in terms of now being the dominant Ursaluna that can outspeed Charlie's Pokemon, excluding what we saw that interaction in game 1, the Incineroar.
Yeah, good catch there, Costa. Yeah, this Incineroar still is very much a threat here, and with that knockoff now being super effective versus that Ursaluna, it's going to deal a lot of damage. Not quite get the KO, because Ursaluna is just a very bulky Pokemon, but still a critical one. And now Kilowattrel also coming in at quite the right time. Well, the Trick Room's up, so maybe not the exact right time, but Focus Sash is still intact here. So yeah, you could say go for a double protect here, stall out a few more turns of Tailwind, stall out your Fake Out as well. And the worst that Charlie can do here is maybe recover the rest of that HP on Porygon 2, which you're not too worried about.
Right.
Or maybe switch into that Golden Go as well, which is then most likely then gonna outspeed the Ursaluna outside of Trick Room, but we're still in Trick Room.
Yeah, as the Ursaluna, respecting the double up into its slot, goes for the protect, as understandably the knockoff will want to try to target it down and deal as much damage as it can at neutral. Ice Beam will not only break the Focus Sash of the Kilowattrel, brings it down to a 1 hit point scenario. It doesn't look like there is a proc of a freeze, which means Kilowattrel goes for the Thunderbolt into the Porygon 2. Because of how bulky this Pokemon is going to be able to take that hit even at +2 of special attack.
So 2 more turns of Trick Room left, and yeah, Kilowattrel is so far the one sweeping in Trick Room, usually at the moment. But yeah, if Matthew can really get around the rest of these last 2 turns, maybe protect, maybe keep it safe for 1 more turn, it can then really thrive once Trick Room has expired here. Now, going to the next turn, if Ursaluna is able to survive a double up from this Porygon 2, which it might be able to here, given that its only offense is that Ice Beam plus that knockoff, it can deal so much damage. But with that special attack boost that you pointed out earlier, Costa, it might still be enough with that double up, and Charlie might be going for that play this turn.
Oh, this is gonna be close, folks. Every single mind game right now is at play and so crucial. Charlie trying to fight for that position of getting crowned the title champ right now. Matthew trying to stay in this set and force a game 3. Knockoff goes into the Golden Go, doesn't quite pick up a KO, and will at least act as some sort of sponge to be able to take the double up there. 10 hit point survival, as it seems like the turns of Trick Room are really reaching the point where they're not going to be able to sustain Charlie's speed control mode.
Now we're in the last turn of Trick Room now, and Matthew has like a genuine chance to just kind of protect this Golden Go, as we can see, and then fire enough for an attack with that Kilowattrel, and then Ursaluna comes in and then outspeeds both the Incineroar and the Porygon 2, being able to dish out a lot of damage. But of course, Charlie needs to now respect the fact that he's got a Golden Go still in the back that he can really utilize once Trick Room does expire. But again, what are the speed interactions between the 2 Golden Goes? We still don't know that.
We do not, as the knockoff will ensure the KO onto the Kilowattrel, but at least what Matthew was looking for is the opportunity to not only have the Golden Go on the field outside of Trick Room, but also, most crucially, that Ursaluna, which at least we've been able to confirm is faster outside of Trick Room conditions in comparison to Charlie's Incineroar, whilst Golden Go surely should be able to pick up a KO onto the Porygon 2 at this range. and not get self-KO'd because the life orb was knocked off previously.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a really nice play down, a really good touch. So Charlie is now in this weird position where you really want Trick Room to go up again, but yeah, you're so low HP here. And yeah, Matthew unleashing that Naked Rain is definitely going to be enough for this Porygon 2 to go down.
Here we go. Headlong Rush is all you need to be able to go through, pick up the KO onto this Incineroar, and hope there still is room for you to be able to bring this back. Not even Headlong Rush is required here. Such a well-advanced play from Matthew's side, guaranteeing not only the KO, but not allowing the drop in your special defense, which is so crucial up against the final boss in order to try to break your way through to Game 3, Golden Go.
Yeah, there's the Golden Go now. Yeah, you can just really safely kind of go for that ground move there and just really kind of like make a lot of damage come out at this point. We see Matthew capitalizing on a potential protect play as well from Charlie too. So yeah, you can just kind of go for that nasty plot, start boosting up really nicely. You can see Charlie kind of looking a little bit perturbed by this game as well and thinking about that Game 3 potentially here. But first, there is that Terra first of all. We still need to contend with that. It's going to be the Terra Water here, and so high horsepower, or the Headlong Rush rather, even more powerful of a move, might not get the KO here, but you're unintimidated, and let's be honest, it's an Ursaluna Hisuian.
And I am curious to see if we are going to actually see a commit of the Facade, maybe to try to ensure the KO. Shadow Ball, of course, will be able to not only move first from Charlie's side, but pick up the Golden Go. Question is, Matthew, what have you connected with? You have committed with the Headlong Rush. It is enough to pick up the KO! Matthew is in with one final opportunity, forcing the Game 3. The match is still on and up for grabs between both our senior trainers.
Massive congrats to Matthew to kind of really bring that back there, and he's got so much support it looks like as well in the crowd. We're really rooting for both of these trainers right now. They are putting everything they have got into this right now and so want that title. Now, we're of course going into our Game 3, and this could well be a Game 6 between these two so far this weekend as well. So much back and forward too. But we did see there how Charlie still tried to commit to that Trick Room mode, but Matthew just responded a little bit better there, playing a little bit more aggressive actually with his own Ursaluna, leading it, just attacking as well, and it really paid off.
Yeah, and not only that, the fact that he was able to preserve the Kilowatt Roll under Trick Room conditions, which on a regular day-to-day basis should not be possible, but enough to be able to put the Porygon 2 within range of a KO with the Ursaluna later on, or even the Golden Go, should I say, once Trick Room expired.
Yeah, exactly, and yeah, really key kind of speed interactions that we've seen throughout this game too.
Hey.
So, yeah, nice. Yeah, there we go.
Well played,
very well
sportsmanship.
coordinated. Yeah, love that. Love to see that. So, going into this Game 3 here, we've got to think about any potential adaptations. But first of all, let's hear it for your two finalists in the seniors division, Charlie Kim versus Matthew Henry. Let's get into it.
As we see Incineroar, Porygon 2 now being led by Matthew's side. Interactions, we've got the attack boost of the Porygon 2 from Matthew's end versus the Golden Go and Porygon 2 from Charlie's. So quite a big change from Matthew.
Yeah, definitely big one here. So maybe just wanted to go for that Porygon 2, which is just a nice bulky Pokemon, right? And can maybe even have an option to reverse a Trick Room that Charlie might then want to set up. But given the leads at the moment, Matthew might want that Trick Room instead here, and we can see him locking into it too.
Yeah, and that will prove to be quite crucial, especially because of the interactions. As we said, Charlie has usually been trying to opt for the Trick Room, so this could have even been a scenario where Matthew could have considered reversing the Trick Room upon the Trick Room, but Charlie opting to go for the setup right now. Nasty plot, and we know this set is so bulky when it comes to its defenses. Having the Agua Berry, wanting to be able to capitalize off of it, even at the cost of not having the additional damage output, which at this point, Nasty Plot plus 2 special attack is so powerful on the Golden Go. And we have the Ursaluna Hisui on the field, now actually absolutely flipping the board states onto their head versus Charlie's strategy from Game 1, Game 2. Now Matthew saying, you know what? I want it for Game 3.
Yeah, exactly. Getting that Ursaluna in on turn 1 of Trick Room, Flame Orb activated, not intimidated. Yeah, absolutely perfect conditions for Matthew right now, especially when Charlie's really committed into that Golden Go now, trying to set it up with that Nasty Plot. And we even know that if this Golden Go goes for a Terra, it can still get KO'd to a Headlong Rush.
Ooh, maybe considering the switch in there, trying to go for the read. Critical hit picked up on Assault Vest can actually add up in terms of the resource availability of the HP. But U-turn into Porygon 2, as we said, any little chip damage does count, and may even have to force the Porygon 2 to go for a recover in the future turns. Headlong Rush goes into the Golden Go though. There was no terrestrialization, no switch. That is a raw KO, and Charlie already down, trying to go for the read there and anticipating Matthew to respect Charlie's anticipation of the board state.
Yeah, that was a really unfortunate turn for Charlie there. Maybe just hoping that Matthew kind of overextends and just expects that protect and goes into the other slot. But at least Charlie has now brought in this Ursaluna, which seems to be most likely the slower of the two Ursalunas. We've got 3 more turns of Trick Room as well, so Charlie still has plenty of opportunity to start really ripping in with that damage, with those facades, with those headlong rushes as well. Now, Matthew does have that Incineroar in the back, though, that would really love to come in at some point to lower the attack of that Ursaluna and start mitigating the damage that Ursaluna can do. So yeah, we see that little target over there. It's a really nice option too. You can then switch out your Ursaluna as well, which has got the defense drops from the previous Headlong Rush. It's a really nice safe play.
And given the fact that Charlie's already a Pokemon down, it just forces Matthew to be in such an advantage in terms of board states that we saw Charlie was in Game 1 and Game 2.
Yeah, absolutely good point there too. And I mean, it's like a really sort of flip around, isn't it, for this Game 3,
yeah,
which we love to see as well. So there's that Ursaluna switching out to the Incineroar, but if there's a Headlong Rush from Charlie, it could still go down.
Yeah, Charlie's going to have to try to commit with a potential read here, as Porygon 2, like we said, it's just so bulky on either side. It allows so much more longevity options, especially with that self-recovery option, if it truly wants to try to extend the game in order to be able to round off the game for a win condition of their trainers. But the terrestrialization commitment of the ghost typing from Charlie's side, Facade into the Porygon 2, clearly trying to go on the offensive, respecting the Ice Beam and not wanting to get downed any sort of range for a KO pickup and Terra Blast. This is hitting same type attack bonus hard in terms of, you know, how much you can whittle it down.
So we can see maybe Charlie trying to predict that protect maybe from the Ursaluna from Matthew on the previous turn, maybe recognizing I'm a Pokemon down, I need to be making some plays here. So targeting to that Porygon 2, which cannot protect, deal as much damage as possible. But we've seen it be able to hang on now, which is really critical as well. So it could be that this Porygon 2 can just recover up as well, given any sort of chance. And now Matthew has fake out advantage, potentially to U-turn, keep pivoting out as well, because it's in now probably Matthew's interest to stall out this Trick Room.
Oh, as the fake out will connect, of course, into the Porygon 2. Headlong Rush is enough to pick up the KO onto the Incineroar. Charlie is actually trying to find a way through to break Matthew's composition. Finally getting rid of Incineroar is so key in order to be able to forego any sort of drops in the future of Intimidate. Ice Beam will now bring the Ursaluna down to half. No status condition due to, of course, the burn via the Flame Orb. But now, Matthew has been able to bring in their own Ursaluna. There was no Terra fighting commit of the Porygon 2s before. Could we potentially see one now?
Yeah, potentially as well on this side, but you got to argue though, like this Ursaluna on Charlie's end is not looking that offensive either at the moment. It's got his defenses dropped too. It's really in that position where, again, Incineroar wants to switch in. And that's where Matthew can try and capitalize with that Headlong Rush yet again. If he can call the slot where it's coming in, it's going to go down completely, and that means no fake out for the future of this game.
Oh, let's see if Matthew's going to be able to find the slots in order to be able to potentially lock up this game. Ursaluna now down to -1 of its attack. Matthew connecting with the terrestrialization. Ghost type, Ursaluna, from one trainer to another. Let's see. Where are you going to focus, Matthew? Could this be a winning turn play? Terra Blast into the Porygon 2 from Charlie's side. Might even try to double up into that slot. Now, the Porygon 2 not actually picking up the KO. 3 hit point survival. Facade will deal so much damage because it's a critical hit, putting Matthew so far ahead right now. 2 more Pokemon remain on Charlie's side versus Matthew's 3 as Trick Room does now expire.
Huge momentum swing there for Matthew. that Trick Room is now expired. We know that Matthew's Ursaluna is now naturally speedier than the Incineroar on Charlie's end, and the Ursaluna there too. It's just a headlong rush into that Incineroar and an attack from this Porygon too, and Matthew still has an unrevealed Pokemon in the bag.
Here we go, headlong rush into the Incineroar, picks up the KO. Matthew is feeling so joyous right now. We've got a scenario where he may just well be wrapping up this game. Ursaluna on its own from Charlie's side. The Porygon 2 moves first. It's able to recover half of its HP as the headlong rush. Is it enough to pick up KO? It is, because no Intimidate was on the field. Hits neutral, hits so powerful, but Matthew, one Pokemon remaining in the back, unrevealed.
But yet another time, Matthew's Ursaluna has outsped this Charlie's Ursaluna. It is most likely the faster of the two. I say most likely, it still could be as V5, we don't know. Maybe these traders do, but either way, Golden Go is on the field now. It can offer those Shadow Balls and lock.
Is now crowned your 2026 Latin America International Champion.